They're the hottest shows in the land, and you could be in one of them. Enter the 4-6's Grit and Glory Walk-On Sweepstakes, where one winner will win a walk-on role in a production from the co-creator of Yellowstone. That's right, this could be you. Other winners will win great prizes inspired by the 4-6's range. Enter the Walk-On Sweepstakes at 6666gritandglory.com. And don't forget to try Grit and Glory craft beer and ranch waters and ready-to-drink cocktails coming soon. See you on the show.
Good morning. I'm Dan Aldridge, founder and CEO of the Share Series. And with me today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Tom Larsen, CEO of 4-6's Grit and Glory. Some of you guys may recognize Tom. He's been on the show 2 other times. So I encourage you guys to look at the other sessions that you'll see down at the bottom of the video player. 4-6's is a fascinating brand that has had a lot of expansion, a lot of growth over the last 3.5 months. So today we're really going to talk to Tom about where we are from a growth perspective and then where we are with the current raise. So with that being said, Tom, welcome back to the Share Series and would love to get a quick update on where you guys are.
Yeah, it's great to be back. And it's great having, 3 or 4 months since the first session because we do have data and data drives a lot of our actions. Really, our world started in Texas and our overarching objective was how do we get proof of concept before then you go on a bigger expansion strategy. So if you could put the first slide up, the Texas is really interesting because, it's the heart and soul of our company. It's where the ranch resides and you want to do well in Texas. And just as we talked about 3 months ago, the data is just outstanding. 2,500 plus locations, important number, 80% repeat. So of those 2,500 locations, 80% have at least purchased once, repeat, and quite honestly, the vast majority 3, 4, 5 times. The other really important number there is that 6.96 packs per week per outlet. And what that says is we are consistently selling product. That's what drives your velocity, which gives you, if you will, proof of concept. The other chart I like to grab on once in a while is that middle one, which is, do all 3 beers perform, craft beers perform at the level we need them to? And the answer is yes. And in Texas, across these 2,500 locations, literally the brands sell a third, and a third. And that's what you want to see because now we can focus knowing we have the right portfolio to expand on a bigger footprint. And one other just real quick call out, Dan, is the on and off premise. Brands are truly built on premise. A normal distributor, 15% or so of their business is on premise. But for us, we're at 35% in Texas. And why is that important? Because every day we're further building the 4-6's Grit and Glory brand through, if you will, 1 pint at a time. And it's really working well. And that does drive then that 6.9 6-packs per week. So yeah, Texas market's really strong.
And Tom will actually get into some of the exciting on-premise activations that you guys have already established and ones upcoming. But before we get to that, if you go to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about distribution, where you are, the key partners, and then where you are with the nationwide rollout.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about previously, our partner in this is Molson Coors. It's an arm's length relationship. We do run our own company, but with Molson Coors having an equity position in an organization, it's really helped us establish a Molson Coors distribution network. Since we last spoke, we're now signed up 175 distributors across the country. You can see them on a red, that's all Molson Coors. We did go with a couple independents in a few areas, but that's fine. Quite honestly, it's probably good. Gives us some kind of learning on both sides of the fence. But the key to opening up outlets is your distributors. And we have amazing, great partners with the Molson Coors network. So yeah, that little pretty picture there, that's a real truck. That's in Dallas. It's just beautiful. Makes your heart pitter patter. So we've gone from a Texas test market to a much bigger footprint across the country heading into summer.
And that's actually a great segue to talk about the business as a whole outside of Texas. We talked a little bit about the first results, but if you go to the next slide, we can talk about more. This is actually the activations. And so we'll talk about this first, the accounts, and then we'll go to the actual sales slide.
Yeah, so this is just amazing. So in Texas, we just talked about having 2,500 outlets. That was great. And we were led by Kroger and Albertson Safeway accounts. But we really did want to go take advantage of Yellowstone. Yellowstone is a phenomenon. And so the timing's now. And so we launched big, if you will, in the second quarter with these 175 Molson Coors distributors. And we today, end of June, in 7,000 locations. And that is just literally starting. And from that, the third quarter, now we've just picked up some Walmarts, we picked up Publix, we picked up some Dickies and California Pizza Kitchen. So we continue to get up every day, opening up new customers, both on and off premise. And when we get to the third quarter, which is kind of now, we will literally go from 7,000 to 10,000. 10,000 certainly no later than September. And then you get the fall resets. And that is where you get the blip from 10,000 to 15. Our industry does significant resets in October. And we're picking up regional customers all across the country, plus many of these on premise. So our plan today is to finish the year at 15,000 locations. My guess is we'll be north of that. It's good. And we get the key customers to support us.
So next slide is the slide I was referring to earlier, which is just the whole company rollout, the results projections that you have. So if you'll walk us through this a little bit, that'd be great.
Well, there's a direct correlation, outlets to revenue. We've modeled out, we know how many 6-packs per account, per flavor, the role of, craft beers versus the ranch waters, which is amazing. But net is we doubled our first quarter to our second quarter as we picked up some of the spring resets and picked up the new distributors. Now the third quarter, we more than double the business, which again is a direct result of, if you will, getting the new Walmarts, getting the new Publix, getting some of the new on-premise. Again, that 5 million is an extremely believable number. We've only budgeted to hold as you go into the fourth quarter. You come out of the summer selling season, but truthfully, December is great because of the holidays. Your real softness, technically or statistically, is in the first quarter, before you ramp up for spring resets. The way our model is set up is, we kind of hold at that 5 million per quarter number until we get to really it's that March, April, where the spring resets will be just a game changer for us. Because for the spring resets is the primary reset of the year. And going into this spring, we already have all the distributors under contract. We're aligned to the major retailers, the Krogers, the Walmarts, the HEBs, the Albertson Safeways of the world. And what's going to happen is we're going to expand locations across the country. And so going from 4.5 million to 8 million, again, highly believable number. It's not, I hate to say it's statistics. We will go from 15,000 locations to 25, and then we'll go to 30. It's still a fraction of the accounts or distributor service. So that's kind of why the numbers are so believable, because we got the distributors.
Yeah, and so one thing I just want to point out and highlight to the big ramp between Q2 and Q3. You mentioned the doors, the Walmarts that are coming in, but I think the other big driver is you're still just brand new, barely out of the dugout in a few major states like Florida.
Well, that's exactly right. So we launched Florida, we launched Southern California literally now, which were not in the second quarter numbers. Huge markets, 20 plus million in Florida, 20 plus million in Southern California. You're absolutely right. We're also picking up, California Pizza Kitchen, 140 locations, Red Robin's, Buffalo Wild Wings, Dickies, Yard House, Longhorn. So you start just picking up more and more, because without the distributors, you can't pick up the customers. We've got the distributors under contract. So then the play is, it's statistics. We will get the outlets that will get us to the 5 million. And what we're going to talk about here at some point in this interview is really about why do we believe we can drive velocity? Because once you get locations, it's all about the consumer.
Yep. Yeah. And so that's actually a great segue. So we talked about distribution, we've talked about the partnerships, the results that you've seen to date. So let's talk about what overlays a lot of this, and that's marketing and really what you're raising some of the funds for. So I think everybody saw the exciting video that we played at the onset of this interview. So talk a little bit about how the walk-on rolls and the whole Yellowstone empire really help to expose, more people to the brand.
Yeah, and if you just flip to the next slide, it really is. So we're under partnership with Taylor Cheriton and David Glasser and other investors in the Four Sixes Ranch. It is all part of the Yellowstone kind of universe of shows. As you all might have seen on Yellowstone, the Four Sixes Ranch is a big deal. And when they film season 5, part B, it's all, for the most part, all shot at the Four Sixes Ranch. And the Four Sixes Ranch will be a spinoff of Yellowstone. That has been announced. It's public in the public domain. But what we have that money can't buy is walk-on rolls. And we're launching literally this week is really the first ever walk-on roll to one of Taylor Sheridan's shows, the co-creator of Yellowstone. And this will garner north of 1 million entries. This will run this week through the end of the year. We're going to spend $3 million in a media plan. We will also amplify this on-premise locations and to some degree off-premise, but really on-premise where you get the greatest return, where you can do table tents and your QR codes and tap takeovers and things like that. But we've also effectively partnered with other 4-6's ranch kind of business units. They've got the high-end Hooray Grills. They've got the Cargill-led steaks. They've got the amazing 4-6's Supply House. And then the best prize of all is the 4-6's Grit and Glory LED signs. Oh my goodness, they're just phenomenal. Everyone needs to get one. So our idea here is we want to have 150 plus winners. It's a much bigger promotion than one winner, because with a million ambassadors cascading it out to their friends that they've entered to win a chance to get a walk-on roll on one of Taylor's shows, it's just a great situation for us. But you want a lot of winners, and you want them to be able to parlay that as well. So that's the single biggest thing we do. And I keep stressing, this is something no one else in our industry can do, is offer a walk-on roll.
Yeah, very interesting. And I think it also plays into the fact that this is more than just an investment, right? This is also an investment, right, in a lifestyle.
Yeah, and you saw there's a really great connection back to Yellowstone, the show, and the 30-second spot, the helicopter coming in and you're picking up the Yellowstone ranch. And then ultimately through various cuts, all the cuts are done at the 4-6's ranch. And they're the barn behind me. It really is an absolutely fabulous relationship between kind of Yellowstone and the 4-6's ranch.
So let's fast forward a little bit and talk about some of the exciting new products you guys have had. You've already seen a lot of success with the craft beer, but you have two new products. One I think that just launched this week. So if we go forward to the next slide, we can talk about those.
Well, the tip of the spear and kind of where the puck is heading is RTD cocktails. And, the seltzer industry, Truly, White Claw, competitors like that, have created an amazing category. Category is still incredibly strong, but it is evolving. And now we've created a range of RTD cocktails that has a very similar usage occasion as a typical seltzer. But we went on the high end with a hero brand called our Old Fashioned. Think about cowboys and cattle and the kind of out in the ranch. That's when you're going to have an Old Fashioned. So these are higher ABV, small, 200 ml cans, sold in 4-packs, but really authentic cocktails. So we go with the Old Fashioned, the American Mule, and we also go with the Margarita. But we also have a second range, which is for really targeting that seltzer user and that usage occasion. If you flip to the next slide, the vodka cocktails play a very different role than the higher end ABV RTD cocktails. The vodka cocktails literally are cocktails in a can. The margaritas, the palomas, the daiquiris, but they're only 5.9 ABV. They're very light, they're very refreshing, and they're anchored on a vodka base versus a malt base. And I'm telling you, as a result of that, the taste profile of these are phenomenal. And this is launching this week. I guess I can say, Walmart will be going with this range in a big way in Florida and California. That's been locked and loaded. We've launched up in the upper Midwest. It's launched literally already on shelf in places like Myers. We will be in Northern Cal with places like Save Mart. We're going big because we believe with 4-6's Grit and Glory, it's a master brand, and it really cascades across these three different usages and product types. You got the craft beers, you got the ranch waters, and now you got the RTD and vodka cocktails. You really have a portfolio that really fits that ethos of cowboys and cattle.
So let's fast forward a little bit to the actual investment, the fundraise, where you guys are. When you came on the last time, you guys were looking to raise $7.5 million via a convertible note. And so would love to get an update on where you guys are with the current status.
Right. Thank you, Dan. It is. So we're doing the $7.5 million convertible note. We are working to close that out here in the next 4 or 5 weeks. It is the reason we landed on a convertible note. It's incredibly difficult to value a company with just Texas results for, a few months. So we went with an 8% annual interest rate until such time there's an event, whether we do the Series A or we do some type of sale. We also then provide a 20% discount on the Series A raise. And we also then provide the protection of the $65 million cap. And that's important because there's really no lose. You get the interest, you get the 20% discount, and quite honestly, you can't have, the worst case would be a $65 million cap, which is where you want to be. You as an investor want that to happen because that means we're doing extremely well as a company. You don't really want the 20% discount. The use of funds really are led first and foremost by the activation of our walk-on rolls. It is a $3 million campaign. We do have some working capital as we expand in new markets. But the heart and soul of it is really to ensure we get the word out to our consumers. And so you look at the fund status, we have 3 million committed. That's great. That's how come we're in business. 2 million is held for the 4/6 Brand Inc., which is the ranch investors. And that money's coming in now. And that really focuses this discussion on the remaining balance of 2.5 million. And if you go to the next slide, it's really a better articulation of where we are. As we went to launch the brand in totality, we did a friends and family round to get proof of concept in Texas, and it went great. In January, we did a bridge loan to think through what is our financial strategy to drive us towards profitability. The decision was a convertible note. The reason 7.5 million is it does get us to a profitable P&L May, June of next year. Doesn't mean we won't do another Series A, because we got to decide how fast we want to accelerate, how much we want to dilute, all that stuff. But in May, June, we will be able to live off of our gross profit and have the appropriate marketing spend and cover the sales, the SG&A, the sales cost. But the reason I want to stress that to you is with the 15 million total bogey to profitability, literally 12.5 million is already accounted for. So it gets back to this discussion is about the final 2.5 million to close out to the profitability. And that's really why I wanted Dan to come back on, to the group. We landed where we are. It's an incredibly good place. We are looking to close. We do want to close in the next several weeks, but it's important for the investors to know we really have already brought in the 12.5 million. So it's not like we're day one and scraping by. We just want to really accelerate the use of the walk-on rolls. We want that to be national. And like I said, it's a $3 million campaign. So we're going to push to close the fund so we have the dollars available to get us the next May, June.
Very helpful. I think that was a very good overview of where you are, where you're coming from. Very helpful for the investors to kind of see where you are right now. So Tom, thank you again, for coming on. Very interesting to see the updates. For the audience, thanks for tuning in. As you'll see on the bottom of the video player, it'll offer up other sessions. And so you can see the 2 sessions that we've done prior with Tom and 4/6s. The first one on April 10th, which was more of an overview of the company. And then on the 24th of April, there was another session where we actually went to one of the production facilities north of Atlanta. So you could actually see the production of the actual craft beer and to see where some of the funding was going. So again, Tom, thank you very much. And we look forward to checking in again on your progress.
And you're welcome. Thank you, Dan.
All right.